Build a wall around your valuables with a safe from the Safe House. We have certified delivery crews to deliver and install your safe. Don't let a crackhead or illegal deliver your safe. With over 30 years in the safe business, the Safe House is the place to buy a safe in Tennessee. So go to NashvilleSafeHouse.com.
My wife and I enjoy going by Yard Sale Inc. We usually go to both locations, the one in Smyrna as well as the one in Murfreesboro. A lot of times on Saturday mornings we stop by, and their inventory changes weekly, so you never know what you're going to see, and it's mostly open box. The name fits it. It's exactly that. It's a yard sale. If you don't totally agree with the price, the staff is always friendly and nice and willing to work with you.
That's the Yard Sale store in Smyrna at 111 Enon Springs Road West, in Murfreesboro at 204 South Front Street, and online at bestdealintown.com.
Hi, this is Allie Dowenhauer with Isaiah 117 House. Isaiah 117 House provides physical and emotional support for children awaiting foster care placement here in Rutherford County. We are changing the way foster care begins, and those kiddos are brought to our house to hang out and wait for a foster family, and they're given everything they need. We support foster children, DCS, and foster families here in Rutherford County. Visit us at www.isaiah117house.com or visit our Facebook page, Isaiah 117 House, Rutherford County.
When I say VFW, you probably have some visions of a smoke-filled bar with a bunch of old-timers eyeballing you. Well, the Stones River VFW is doing things different. No smoke-filled rooms, no turning prospective members away, and a strong emphasis on camaraderie and community. We believe in instilling our American values in our young people through numerous programs such as Voice of Democracy, Patriots Pen, Scout of the Year, and VFW Teacher of the Year. Stones River Post intends on becoming a driving force to help, aid, and assist wartime veterans. So if you're one of those veterans with a campaign medal and you want that sense of purpose that you've been missing, then give our recruiter Andrew Farr a call at 615-490-5715.
Hey, I'm Floyd, and I'm inviting you to join me at CR. That's Celebrate Recovery. We meet at Family Worship Center, 3045 Memorial Boulevard on Sunday at 6 p.m. We're a 12-step Christ-centered program that offers help for all the hurts, habits, and hang-ups that's causing you pain. The program works if you work it, and I'm proof. For other CR groups, go to CelebrateRecovery.com and click on the group finder. Hope to see you soon.
Hey everybody, my name is Marcus Manise. I am the founder and executive director of Stronger Than My Father Youth and Family Services. Our organization is designed to help young men grown up in homes with our father have a better chance at a better life and a better opportunity. Our organization is preventative, so our goal is to prevent kids from going to jail, juvenile, but live out the purpose that God truly has designed for them. For all information on our organization, if you're looking for a mentorship program and your child is between grades 2nd through 9th, we encourage you to go to our website, strongerthanmyfather.org, for more information. Sign up to be a part of Stronger Sons Mentorship Program. And then we're hoping that this program continue to help your son live out the true dreams that God truly has designed for them.
This is Conversations with Mike Sparks.
Are you concerned with the state of America, your state, your community? Then you're in the right place. State Representative Mike Sparks. He and guests are here to talk about local politics, history, faith, and freedom.
All right, I'm your host, Mike Sparks. Welcome. Got a big show tonight, and got my pastor, Brother Shelby Hazard, Parkway Baptist Church.
Hey.
Talking about a conference we've got coming up. Text and Translation, May 16th, Saturday, May 17th. And got Keith Bratcher that's going to come up here in a little bit with a couple of buddies talking about post-traumatic stress and some other areas in the area of emergency management and police and fire. Keith's just a great guy. I got Jeremy in the house, and I've got buddy Roger Thomas who's going to join us at about 5:15, and I got Connor how's school come along?
Getting ready for graduation.
I used to ask, it's an interesting joke. He graduated like 2 years ago, and anyways, I just forgot about it.
Not good.
So we kind of keep it going,
Yeah.
Brother Hazard, how you doing?
I'm doing wonderful.
You had a good sermon this morning.
Well, thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
It's really good.
The road to Emmaus. It's a hard one to mess up.
Yeah. Pull that mic up just a little bit right there.
You got
Now, I know you've been excited about this conference, this text and translation.
Yes.
Because you reached out to me like 6 weeks ago or
Yeah,
a month
while
ago
back.
about it.
Yeah, it just we had scheduled it originally for late December or early December, and just didn't have a good response rate on. I think the time of year was bad.
Yeah.
But as of right now, we have about 60 signed up, which is great. We've got room for probably 30 or 40 more.
Yeah. How much is it?
It's $35 if you do the whole thing, and the $35 includes Friday night dinner. We're going to have Jim and Nick's
really?
barbecue catered, and then Saturday for lunch we're going to have Chick-fil-A. So we're working through all that. So $35 is like
that
dirt.
includes the meals.
Yeah, that's dirt cheap. I mean, we're just covering our costs.
Man, I was going to say you're losing money on that.
Oh, no doubt. We're just covering our costs. We've got some money in the budget for these types of things, and every year we have a specific allocation for trying to do something community related to improve people's understanding of the Word of God, to apply it to their life and stuff like that. And this is in that realm.
Yeah, this is just the foundation, I guess you could say, that many times people may not take the time to study. I know one thing that you emphasize is staying in the Word daily, prayer daily, and I see a lot, as I've shared with you, I see a lot of disconnect in our world today, our society today. I mean, you see addiction on every corner. I mean, you just look out. Just now, we come through McDonald's and see some folks that I know are battling something. Incarceration, our prison budget's increased about $400 million since I was elected, amassing to about $1.4 billion. And here's the irony: I've never seen a lobbyist. Now, there's people that's going to say they're lobbyists. Men of Valor's done a good job, and others. But do you ever feel like society's just going to hell? I mean, seriously.
Every day. Yeah. And I mean, we just like we were talking with you guys out there a few minutes ago, I think one of you guys is going to talk about PTSD, and that comes from, traumatic situations and combative, conflictive tragedies and things of that nature people are exposed to. And I mean, that's what we do. Yeah. I mean, people come to ministers either when things are really good or really bad. They come to us if they want to get married, or if there's something to celebrate in their lives, or if their life is completely falling apart, and that's fine. I mean, that's what we're there for. Yeah. But if most people would try to get their life anchored, in the Word of God and Christ, first, and follow through with that faithfully. Yeah. Most of the time, I mean, God doesn't guarantee us an easy life, but at least you're anchored with Him, and you have faith, and you have the truth, and life is typically a lot better when you do that. You don't make bad decisions that get you in trouble.
Well, I know retired EMT Paul Tucker's going to join us, and Kenneth Barrett, Lieutenant with the Sheriff's Department, and then Keith Pratcher, and we've talked about this on this show quite often about mental health, post-traumatic stress. But I mean, even a pastor is called on so much. I mean, I know for me, my own mental health, I've been trying to exercise, been trying to just get away a little bit, but I don't know. I couldn't imagine what you have to deal with as a pastor, though.
Yeah, I mean, you've got your, it's like the priest of the Old Testament.
Because who's your pastor? Well, think about it. Everybody looks to you, but who do you look to?
Well, I mean, it's like the priest of the Old Testament. I mean, he had his own sin to deal with, plus he atoned for the sins of Israel. Yeah. So, I mean, it's very similar. I mean, we have to struggle with our own shortcomings, and then we have to help other people, fight their shortcomings. And so, yeah, it's kind of a double dose of difficulty in a sense. But you have the Holy Spirit, you have the Word of God, and you have your church family. We got guys like you out there that we know that are fighting.
Well, I don't do enough.
But I mean, you're fighting for the truth, though. I mean, you do. I mean, you do what you can in the community, because you can't make people do. I mean, you can't make them. You can just try to persuade them, and that's what you do. And so, I mean, knowing that you're on that team. The team of Parkway Baptist Church, we got a great staff, we got great deacons, we got great members, and we all lock arms together to try to make people's lives better in the gospel, and but yeah, I mean, it does get difficult sometimes, but at the end of the day where you're going and who you're going to be with, so it's okay.
Well, you had talked about your wife earlier, but I didn't realize, was she like, you were like 20 and she was 12? What's up with that, man?
No. You're going to get me in trouble, Sparks. No. I was good grief. I don't know, 30. I was 33, and then take 8 from that, and that's how old she was.
She was 25.
25,
well, I
yeah.
heard you say, well, you didn't explain it properly. I
Well,
went
I didn't.
I was back row, and my wife and I just celebrated 36 years, and she was 15, I was 19 when we started dating, and I heard you say 8 years. So I'm starting in my head thinking maybe she's 14 and you're 22, and
you are gonna get him in trouble.
Thank you.
I
Shut him
shared
down.
that.
Pull that mic away from him.
I
right now.
shared that on the house floor. She was not. My wife's 19, and or my 15, I was 19, but I forgot to say when we started dating.
Yeah.
And I seen people over there whispering and talking, looking over at me. Then I was like, oh man, people started talking. So I had to get the speaker's attention. But you know, when we go back to the power of prayer, I was sharing, my best friend from high school called me last night, Paul Ewan. Great guy, and he's out in Utah, and you know, and we were talking about how the times have changed, and he was like, you know what, he remembers my World War II father. He said, could you imagine your dad knowing that they're trying to question if you were a boy or a girl, and some of this stuff in schools today? And
it's crazy, man.
He said, man, our fathers would not put up with that kind of stuff.
It's crazy.
And it's like, I see these Ephesians 6:12. You hear me talk about
all
that
the
a
time,
lot.
yeah.
But when I look back at faith, I was telling Paul, I said, you know, I prayed for my wife, I got her. I prayed to get, I got it. I prayed for my business, I got it. I prayed for my mom to have peace when she was dying, I got it. Everything I've ever asked in my life, the Lord has blessed me, even through trials and tribulations and hardships. He's been there. I mean, you know, Rogers went through a tough time, lost a son a few years ago, and you know, we've all went through our challenge. But what advice would you give folks that have went through those similar battles? Well, sometimes they blame God on it.
I mean, I think that you just covered it right there. I mean, it's difficult. I mean, it really depends on what the individual has been through. It just, for instance, you know, if a couple, just to go like extreme, if a couple had a stillborn child, for instance, which we've dealt with that, I would try to find somebody that I knew in the congregation or somebody that I knew in ministry that I could trust, that maybe had a stillborn child in the past, and get them to minister to the people that had the stillborn child. So if you look at, I think it's 2 Corinthians, it talks about being afflicted, and we're afflicted for your comfort, and our comfort yields for your comfort. So I think that through everything we experience in our lives, that God is equipping us to minister to other people. Like me, I've got an addiction, you know, alcohol, drug addiction background, you know, from back in the 80s
That's why I
and the
voted
90s.
for you.
Thank you, man.
Seriously,
Thank you.
there's 300-something people come through
there was a
resumes, and they narrowed it down to 20, and I heard your testimony. I was like, this dude's straight up honest. I was like, this is the guy I'm voting for.
Well, you have to live that way, man, or it'll just rot your heart. You know, if you have to live honestly. It's the only way to do it. So I would say whatever tribulation or difficulty that you've been through, that God has brought you through the other side, then that's what you can actually take to help somebody else that is where you were back then. And then you can help bring them along and give them hope and strength, and tell them how to handle and give them the wisdom that you learned through that process.
Well, it's ironic, and I met a little girl today. I was at the Send Credit Union, just sharpening my axe, making sure that my checking account's paying some interest, which it wasn't, so I'm moving things around. And got talking to a young lady. She was about 23, 24, and I don't know how we got on the subject, but she opened up to me. She lost a child, stillborn.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, how are you coping with this? Where are you, you know, and what are you doing? And then she said, well, my boyfriend's sister would help me. We'd go volunteer at nursing home. Then she tells me, but she got killed in a car wreck last year on Highway 96.
Man, that's tough.
Then they're renting a home at $1,800 a month, and I'm like, my gosh. And I was telling her, you know, the old adage, you're either in a storm, you're leaving a storm, you're going back in a storm.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, man, and she was saying, you know, she got on some medication and it's kind of helped her. I was talking about music therapy, how I played Amazing Grace when Mom was dying, and it was like medicine to her soul. I watched it work. But boy, you think for a young lady to lose a child and then try to be a counselor to that. And but you know, my job, people call me when they got problems. They don't call me when they, like you, they don't call, hey, Brother Shelby, I got a promotion. Right. You know, I got a bonus. They call you with problems.
That's just the nature of the call, you know. I mean, people went to Jesus with problems. I mean,
Yeah.
they went to him with all. I mean, that's what they went to him with was disease, illness, broken relationships.
What's
possession.
the story? I was thinking about the other day. Was it the 5 lepers, and then he healed all of them, and only one come back and say thanks?
Well, that was a Samaritan. One of them was a Samaritan leper, and the Samaritan leper was the one that went back and thanked him.
What is the kind of the message that we get out of that?
That you should always be humble, and that being healed and being freed from those type of ailments should generate in you a thankful, humble heart for what's been done.
Yes,
because in that story there was the other lepers were Jewish, and they wanted to get back to the temple to make the sacrifice or whatever, but the one Samaritan, he went back and fell at Jesus' feet to thank him for what he had done for him, which is remarkable. It just shows the true heart had really changed. Along with the disease being purged, the heart was changed as well.
Well, I know when you gave that testimony. I mean, I thought I was wild as a young man. You were a lot wilder than I was.
Yeah, I'm not
Probably
proud of
Roger,
that fact,
too.
but I mean it is true. And
did you wreck a truck in the pond or something?
Man, you're gonna bring that up here on live on the radio, huh? I did. I had I had way too much to drink that night. Of course, this was back when I was in my early 20s, and almost ran a truck off. I passed out behind the wheel and ran the truck off into a drainage ditch. And woke up. The reason why I woke up was because the cab had filled up with water and was up to my waist. And so when I woke up, I realized water was on the truck. And at first, I looked through the windshield and I saw the moon. And I thought for just a second that I was in the Mississippi River because, the Mississippi, you're real close to the Mississippi River where we lived in Greenville. And then I realized I wasn't. And then I rolled the window down. And that's when I completely came back and panicked. And began to scrounge around trying to figure out what to do, and I was able to roll the window down. And then as soon as I rolled the window down, the water just gushed into the truck. And so I grabbed the top of the cab and pulled myself out. The current in the water snatched me and tried to take me down. And I turned around and grabbed onto the cowl on the hood of the truck and then pulled myself back. And then grabbed the windshield wiper and then managed to get my knees on the truck. Then I crawled over the cab into the bed and then crawled through the bed and got out of the truck. And when I got all the way out and stood on the bank, I realized that I was in this place called Stringtown, Mississippi, that was a little farming community that was on a back road between Greenville and Cleveland.
Yeah.
And I had taken that road because I didn't want to get caught by the police, right?
Yeah.
And so I got up and looked down and I was like, I really cannot believe that I'm not dead. Because I mean, if that truck had not hung on the underbrush, going down that 50-foot drainage ditch, I would have drowned that night. I had no question in my mind.
Did it tow the truck?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It blew up. It sucked in water and blew it up.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming up with us. You're welcome to hang out with these guys that's going to join us here.
Give me one more minute. I just want to cover one thing, just so everybody knows what this is. I want to give the sessions just right quick, just so everybody knows what's going on. This is a scholar. There's going to be a couple scholars come from Texas. And there's 7 sessions. The sessions are 45 minutes each, and then you have a 15-minute Q&A afterwards. So they're going to talk about the autographs, like the most original manuscripts we have of the Scripture, like what we call the Bible. Then they're going to talk about the canon of the New Testament, how it was put together, then the copies, the copyists, what's in the New Testament manuscripts, the art and science of textual criticism, and then the actual translation of the New Testament. And so whoever comes to this is going to get a meal on Friday night, and then they're going to get to actually ask questions with these scholars, or it's going to be at least one, maybe 2, and then of course the fellowship of being there. So this, if anyone has a question about the Bible or about the original manuscripts, this conference will answer those questions. And I'll say one more thing. If you were going to seek out a conference like this, you would not find it in Middle Tennessee. You would not find it in Tennessee. Yeah. You would have to travel to another state and pay probably thousands of dollars to go and experience this conference. So it's kind of unheard of that this is coming to Middle Tennessee for the price that it is at our church, and that's all we're trying to do is offer the people the service so they know more about the translation and the Word of God that they have entrusted their lives to.
So is this... I know we're about to transition over, and I was going to ask Pastor, is this whole thing talking about the process of digitizing the whole manuscript, or is it talking about
all of it?
All of it?
All of it.
Well, because me as a historian, this piques my interest completely.
Yes.
And so...
You would absolutely love it. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Brother Shelby Hazard and church. If anybody's listening wants to join us next week,
absolutely, man.
10:15. What's the address?
1715 Lee Victory Parkway.
Right there by across from Starbucks.
Publix.
And
right across Publix.
Burger King.
Yep.
All right. Thank you. We'll
man. Thank you, brother. All right.
Quick commercial break.
Yep. Sounds good.
Josh Moss with Affordable Heating and Cooling provides residential HVAC and duct cleaning services to the Middle Tennessee area. With more than 20 years of experience, Josh Moss and the AHC team provide 24/7 service and take care to ensure whatever work you need done is done in a professional, timely manner. Contact AHC at 615-745-1676. That's 615-745-1676. Or go to their website at affordableheatingandcoolingtn.com.
Most people know that their insurance can provide them with coverage for the many life's mishaps. But I can help you also unlock discounts, save money, and get benefits with Farmers Insurance policy perks. Whether we're discussing home or auto insurance, I am here to help you understand these great perks. Call me, Mark Lewis, at 615-625-7070 for a quote, and you can get a whole lot of something with Farmers policy perks.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Not available in every state. Only available at select Farmers branded policies underwritten by Farmers Truck or Fire Insurance Exchanges or affiliate.
Mike and Felicia Sparks, owner of the Vanity Zone Salon, want to invite you to stop in for your next haircut or color. Their stylists Michelle, Tori, Tracy, Brandy, Sarah, and Gail offer the best creative cuts and color for all ages, for men and women. The Vanity Zone is located at 732 Nissan Drive in Smyrna, to the right of the Crystals Restaurant. To look and feel your best, visit the Vanity Zone Salon today. Call 615-355-1721 to book your next appointment.
My wife and I enjoy going by Yard Sale Inc. We usually go to both locations, the one in Smyrna as well as the one in Murfreesboro. A lot of times on Saturday mornings we stop by, and their inventory changes weekly, so you never know what you're going to see, and it's mostly open box. The name fits it. It's exactly that. It's a yard sale. If you don't totally agree with the price, the staff is always friendly and nice and willing to work with you.
That's the Yard Sale Store in Smyrna at 111 Enon Springs Road West, in Murfreesboro at 204 South Front Street, and online at bestdealintown.com.
Ready? Roger Thomas, tell us about an exciting event that you went through. Was it yesterday? And
Appreciate you letting me talk about this, Mike. I know I was just going to give a quick shout out, but I had talked to a lady that's over this Miracle Park, and I got a little bit of stuff that's going on there. And like I said, I really do appreciate you giving me time to talk about this. But yesterday, when we got out of the Men of Hope breakfast, my brother Kenny called. He said, "Let's go watch a ball game," and that was Elena, my nephew Brian's little girl. And I knew she had disabilities, leukemia, and all that. And so we go to this park, and I didn't have no idea what it was. So we go to Sportscom, and there's a little field, David Price Field. And man, you talk about something really, 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 really cool. I actually, I was so impressed, I talked to the director there. And so they gave me a little info about this place, and I'd like to share this on if anybody wants to get involved or watch or anything like that. But it's they call it's one of their favorite programs in Murfreesboro Parks and Recreation. It's more than just playing a game. It removes barriers, encourages children and adults with mental, physical disabilities to enjoy one of America's favorite pastimes. It's just an amazing experience to be a part of. We are in our 8th year and play every fall and spring, growing each season. This season we'll have 14 teams that play on the David Price Miracle Field, a unique place for special need athletes from 4 years old to 53 years old. Each game is 2 innings, and all players get to bat and play the field. Our athletes have buddies to help them, and the buddies are usually local high school athletes or groups from the community. And I think he said the fire department has been there. During the 2nd inning stretch, our mascot, Homer, makes an appearance, and the athletes and buddies join him on the pitching mound for a quick round of dancing. Every athlete selects a walk-up song that is played before they bat. Games this season are Friday nights under the lights, 5:30, 6:30, 7:30, Saturdays 9, 10, 11, and 12. We love fans to come and cheer our athletes, and you will hear some great music, laugh, cheer a lot, and probably witness an out-of-the-park home run. For more information, contact Michael McCafferty at 615-907-2251. Also, they are hosting the Special Olympics on May the 5th and 6th and are asking for fans in the stands. You can find all the details on the website, murfreesboroparks.com. but it's run similar to the major league with an incredible announcer, music, a medal ceremony, creating a first-class experience for the more than 800 athletes participating. Lynn Caldwell, marketing, she's supervisor at 615-890-5333. And like I said, I was really, really touched and impressed when you go out to see those little kids.
Yeah.
It gets you, man. So anyway, thank you for letting me bring it up and talk about that. Okay?
You know, it reminds me of Friday. I went out to the Tennessee Rehabilitation Center. I don't know if y'all been out there at the base, and they work with folks that are blind and wheelchairs, and you know, it's like just helps me be there. I was impressed to see the Smyrna Town manager David Santucci there, and Councilman H.G. Cole as well. But it's very moving when you. Like, we think we got difficulties, and then you see a person that's blind overcoming. You know, the guy that was the speaker, he's assistant commissioner, and is no arms, and he's got a stub of a foot, and he uses that, and the guy can text. And I was kidding him about texting faster than I could, and he was just laughing. He has this. I've watched him do a speech before on his foot. Got the phone. And he's sitting there reading off that and just moving it up. I mean, it is amazing, you know. So, reminder that. Well, Keith, I know this has been an important issue to you, post-traumatic stress among EMS, firefighters, police, and others. Jump in here, Captain Keith Bratcher. Why does this matter to you, Captain?
Well, you know, Mike, back some time ago, you know, of course, I'm retired from Murfreesboro Fire Department. Got my friends here, Paul Tucker, who is retired with Rutherford County EMS, and my friend Kenneth Barrett, who still currently is a deputy with the Rutherford County Sheriff's Department. So anyway, you know, we've talked about it. You know, you all passed a bill back some time ago, Mike, through the state legislature. I think Bill Ketchum, when he was still a senator there, and some others. But anyway, there's a lot of post-traumatic stress disorder. I know most people think about it from a military standpoint, but which it does definitely affect our military, but it does affect the emergency workers, fire, police, EMS. And so anyway, I just it's always been a real thing for a pet peeve, or I think something I've always been very vocal for. So we've spoke about it many times. I got a little bit of statistics you want me to bring up while I was before we come over. This is all information from the National Institute of Health. Firefighters, as far as post-traumatic stress disorder affecting them, it's 27%, 7 to 37%. Police officers 7 to 35. EMS workers 7 to 34. So you can see we're all about the same. On average, 20% of all emergency workers suffer from some type of post-traumatic stress disorder. So, you know, I always, I know when I was a captain there, anytime we had some type of real bad incident, you know, I always had, you know, spoke with my workers. We get back, talk about what happened, what's going on. So, you know, so, but also, one other point I wanted to bring up was that, you know, a lot of times we're kind of different from military. You know, military may be deployed for 6 months, a year, maybe longer than that, where firefighters and EMS workers, police officers, you know, we're in our jobs 25, 30 years, some people longer than that. So, you know, we're exposed to all kinds of tragedies and stuff, you know, for long periods of time. And one other thing I want to bring up was about 30% of first responders will develop some type of behavioral type condition where, you know, includes depression or post-traumatic stress disorder. So if you think about it, even people that are working today, Sheriff's Department, EMS, fire, they go back about a third of their force is suffering from some type of post-traumatic stress disorder.
One thing I like about, because I don't know if y'all know, I got Paul Tucker, EMT, retired, and Kenneth Barrett, Lieutenant Sheriff's Department, here with us in the studio. You know, I had to do a TV news. I was going back to finish my degree, and I knew he was retiring, and I got his last day on the job, man. And who's that guy that makes fun of your accent? Who's that guy?
Dwayne O'Donnell.
Yeah, y'all know Dwayne. Man, he is spot on with his accent. But what I remember when y'all first came up, Keith, and because I really wasn't for that at first, to be honest with you, because I thought, my dad was World War II, and I thought, how are they comparing this and guys in Vietnam and Korean War? But then y'all deal with it daily.
Yes.
And then my dad had 24 missions over Germany. He's seen the planes that shot down. He's seen, I remember telling about a guy, the tail gunner was shot in the arm, and just told the captain, he nicked me. They nicked me. I mean, that dude, that generation was the greatest to be able to take that. But I didn't realize until I started listening to these firefighters that a firefighter, and many times an officer as well, are more likely to take their own life than be killed in line of duty.
Yes, sir.
That shocked me.
Yes, sir.
It's a tough business to be in. Of course, we all chose this business, and we wanted to stay in it when we got in it. But PTSD kind of sneaks up on you.
Yeah.
It was 2 years before I retired that I realized that something was wrong. It interferes with your marriage because you go home after seeing a lot of things, and there's some things that you can talk to your spouse about and some things you can't talk to them about.
Exactly.
They don't want to hear that kind of stuff, and you really don't want to tell them that kind of stuff. But it does eat away at you, and in your mind you think about it. And when I finally did retire, I live on a busy street. When a siren would go down the street, I was up. I come out of the bed just like I was going on a call.
Wow.
And it's getting better. It's been about 2 years now. It's getting better, but it's
How many
still
years you served?
25 years in the back of an ambulance.
Really?
25.
Wow.
Proud of all of them, but some of the things that I've seen, I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy.
My pastor here serves as a chaplain. We were talking earlier.
Well, I was going to throw something in while he was talking. Testimony to that, absolutely true. My wife was actually, when we were in seminary in Fort Worth, Texas, back 20-something years ago, she was carjacked in a Wendy's drive-thru at gunpoint, pregnant with my first son. From that moment forward, anytime somebody approached her car from the outside, it was instant fear and panic. I mean, it really does affect people. Yeah, what Mike just said was, I was listening to you talk earlier. I serve with the Rutherford County Sheriff's Department as a volunteer chaplain, and the whole purpose, I've been with them for about 5 years now, probably done about 10 ride-alongs over that time period and been called out maybe a half a dozen times for different things. But the primary purpose that we were that we serve is to ride with the deputies, to support the deputies because of exactly what you just talked about. So,
Exactly right.
Kenneth, what do you say?
Yes, sir.
Lieutenant. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. Yeah, it's definitely PTSD is a real thing. As a lieutenant on the sheriff's department, we have to watch our guys closely, watch any types of change in their behaviors and things like that. Whether they're sleeping right, not coming into work, any kind of patterns that's not normal is one thing as a supervisor has to do. We've got better over the years. We do a lot of defusing, debriefings after serious incidents. Suicide rates are high, and fatal crashes, things that the normal person shouldn't see, that these deputies are taking on themselves to help our community stay safe, and they're having to see it every day. And people don't realize exactly how often it happens, and that's just a few of the incidents that occurs that you get PTSD from.
One of the issues as a lawmaker, it was the station. Scott Walker was asking about this childhood sexual trauma, going back and wanting to prosecute. And to be honest with you, I avoided the discussion. I did not want to talk about it, and finally, I think after like 2 years, I started asking questions and listening to people, and we run the bill. It was the end of the statute of limitation, go back and prosecute. And but when you go back and listen to these folks' stories, and the other day I had this mentorship resolution on the House floor, and I had 4 lawmakers come up and speak about who impacted their life the most. It was coaches, teachers, parents, and you go back and look at the guys in prison and women. 85% of them are there that don't have a father in their life. Go back, look at the childhood sexual abuse. It's upwards of 80-90% among females. But there was a documentary that was made. Well, 2 documentaries. I'm in one of them, and they come in and they ask me, and I'm old school. I just said, I just said, what do you say to somebody like my father who would have said, suck it up. You got to move on.
Yes,
and I know that's not, they didn't want to hear that, but they were very kind. It was all females, so they were very kind. But what do y'all say to that? Because that old generation, they would have said, suck it up, move on.
Right.
Yeah, rub some dirt on it.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, that's got better in first responder business, but it's still a problem. When I went to my primary care doctor, she said, well, you're going to have to go talk to one of your supervisors as well about what's going on in your life. And I told her then, I said, there's no way I can do that.
Yeah.
Because you'll be labeled at that point. And I wanted to finish out my career as well.
Yes.
And I didn't want to be labeled, but I suffered with it. And hopefully it'll get better, but I still suffer with it every day.
Now, do you find like one thing I liked about Keith and his guys is the camaraderie, like I guess you could say brotherhood. Am I right, Keith?
Yes.
Yeah, firefighters have a brotherhood. EMS does. We all really do, because we, if we, 9 times out of 10, if whatever emergency call you make, whether it be a wreck, it could be a shooting, it could be anything, all 3 of us are going to show up on that scene. And police going to be there for, scene safety, this, that, and other. EMS going to be there for transport, medical support, and firefighters, we're medically trained now, so we're going to be there to help EMS and stuff with medical. So we were just talking about in the lobby earlier, we all get together, different departments, people get together, we play golf together, a lot of their families do a lot of things together. So it's kind of it is like a brotherhood, sisterhood, because we do a lot of things not only on duty together, we do a lot of things off duty. So yeah, it is a brotherhood.
Keith shared, over the years we've talked about this and shared some of what they've witnessed, and I was like, boy, I could, because I went to school to be EMT when I was 19, and about 3/4 into it, I'm like, what am I doing here? I don't want to see no blood. I didn't want to give no shots, and I've completed it, but I was like, this ain't for me.
Yeah, I think in this line of work, you got to have hobbies outside of work. You got to have something to get your mind off of it, and you can't let the job identify who you are. No matter what, you have to get out. That's what I tell my young guys coming in is, give your family 100%, give me 100% when you're here, and also enjoy yourself when you're off, and have hobbies, and something to get your mind off of it.
I totally agree with that. It's a calling too to get in this business.
Yeah.
It's not for everybody. That's for sure. A lot of people just can't stomach it, and I understand that. I really understand it now that I'm retired and struggle with some of it and some of the thoughts and flashbacks, and you kind of end up, I used to think of myself as an extrovert. Now I'm an introvert.
Really?
I even had anxiety standing downstairs waiting to come up here.
Yes,
sir.
I could have broke out in a sweat.
You've been on radio before, though, haven't you? A lot of people.
I have been on radio and I have been on TV. But
a lot of people get a little nervous sometimes.
Something that happened yesterday that I thought was remarkable, because I hadn't been out there in a while. But a friend of mine, we went riding and we went to Eagleville. Well, I hadn't been out to Eagleville in about a year. But as I passed some of those houses, I said,
that's where you were stationed. I don't mean to interrupt you, but that's where you were stationed for a long time.
Yes, that was my last station was Eagleville. I said, oh yeah, I took care of a man that lived right there, or I worked a car wreck right here, or somebody died in this house or that house. And even across on the side of the road sometimes will bring up memories. It's like, oh wow, I just soon not remember that. But it's something that's in your mind. And before I got out of the business, I turned to alcohol. I tried some drugs. I smoked some pot. I did everything.
You serious?
Yes, absolutely.
Pot, marijuana?
Yes,
oh my gosh.
Absolutely, absolutely. And only, if it hadn't been for my dogs and God, I don't know that I would be here right now.
Jump in there.
I was going to say something else that happens with these guys, first responders, deputy sheriffs, fire department, all these guys that are public servants. Now in this technology era, you've got every person with a cell phone camera waiting to catch you doing anything even remotely weird, to where they can spin it, twist it, try to get 1 million views, to try to throw you under the bus. And you talk about something that adds stress and PT. That right there, that right there will paralyze our public servants sometimes for fear that if I intercede in this issue and they take it and spin it the wrong way, my life can be over. They can attack my.
That's
I mean,
right.
you went through something like that back. Yeah, I know. So I mean, it's really a big
Antifa
deal.
was in front of my house 6 years ago. Antifa, beating a drum, yelling through a bullhorn. About 6 of them. Cops showed up about 4 in the morning. I was with General Haston in California, of all places, but I had been warned. Hey, man, you're a target. Really, sometimes it's a badge of honor, I guess you could say, because I think I'm the only elected official, not bragging, but that they've ever targeted, the only one. So you could look at it as a badge of honor. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Look at Lieutenant. He kind of gave me like, yeah, it's okay.
That's right.
You know what I mean? But it will. I mean, I'm just glad my wife handled it really good.
Yes.
You know, because it does. You know, you got to think of spouses and what they go through. You know.
Well, I want to say one thing real quick. I when I was fire department first started, I used to see a lot of the older guys that were about ready to retire, and I guess I didn't realize it then, but I guess a lot of them were dealing with some post-traumatic stress disorder. We didn't know a whole lot about it. As I got on, as my career went on, as I got older, I always said I didn't want to be someone that just retired from the fire department and just kind of let that just go. I just had a lot of friends and some family that worked there, and so I just always appreciated you might let this be a platform to bring awareness to all the emergency workers, especially in Rutherford County, to just let the public know that our people, they do suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder. I know a lot of people told me over the years, well, Keith, you chose that profession. Well, that is very true. I could never imagine myself doing anything other than being a firefighter. So we all sitting in here, including you, Mike, we got a servant's heart. You got to have one. Yes. If you don't, you're not going to do what we do, and you're not going to do and put through what all you do. So you got to have that servant's heart. So anyway, I'm glad God blessed me with that. So,
well, I was talking to my buddy of mine from high school called me last night where he thought somebody we went to school with, well, somebody did pass away. He thought it was a different girl that was in my grade, and wasn't. We just talked about how times have changed and all, and he remembers my late father, and I was like, yeah, man. I said, what you didn't know, I said, me and my dad didn't speak for like 8 years. He pulled a gun on me. I tried to go see him, and he goes, what? And I was like, yeah, man. I said, I don't know if my dad was getting into some, dementia or something, but he was a man of his word, so I left. I wasn't going to argue with the man, and he was a rough brother. You'd got along great with him, and he was. But I told him, I said, we didn't speak, and here I am in the community trying to help other people, couldn't help my own family. So that stuff plays on you. And I tell you what, man, I had a dream. That he died. I didn't get to have closure in the dream, and woke up. I was sobbing. I said, Lord, take care of this for me. Heal this relationship. And the Lord lined it all up, man. And he had a stroke and got the ambulance there and got to heal it on his deathbed. And the Lord even lined up an airplane. A buddy of mine, Scott Butler, owns an aircraft, and we were at the auto auction trying to get him a truck, and I thought my dad was coming home, and he says, hey, hospital said, man, your dad went in a coma. He's not going to make it. But the Lord lined up Scott to be there, because Scott come to the hospital, knew my sister couldn't catch a flight, or figured it out. He flew, got in his aircraft, went to Florida, picked her up and her kid. Got to see my dad when he was dying. But that's where faith matters to me. So I'm assuming y'all are believers.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, and because I've seen so many doors get open. So that's probably why I care about the fathers, because of my experience with my own father.
Well, without my faith, I guess I'd be in the ground right now.
Yes.
No doubt about it, because it crossed my mind several times. My last couple of years, when I'd get up that morning to go to work, nausea, sweating, didn't want to go. It was a terrible feeling, because for 20 some odd years I went every day, but it sneaks up on you. And if you've been in the first responder business probably for over 2 or 3 years, you've got some PTSD.
Yeah.
Because it's certainly not the way. I mean, Rutherford County is busy,
and
there's bad things happening. Used to, when I first got in the business, if something bad happened, back then there was newspapers. You'd see it in the newspaper.
Yeah.
Now there's so much it happens, it just goes unnoticed.
Man, I've noticed it seems like a lot of motorcycle wrecks. You know,
Time of year. This time of year it really boosts up. You know, about everybody's getting out riding and.
Trauma season.
They've been put up all winter, and it's that time of year. Yes,
I mean, y'all lost a deputy, Bo. What was his Bew? Yeah, Bew. I remember that, man, because we went to the chaplains. We were all asked. We didn't know him personally, but we were all asked to come to the funeral that day. I'm gonna tell you, man, that was an incredible. I've never seen anything like that in my life.
I'm glad you brought that up. Some of my best friends actually responded to that crash that morning. They worked with him. That crash came out. They went out there and noticed it was him. They're having to deal with that till today.
Absolutely.
And the anniversary is actually coming up.
Is that right?
Real soon, be 1 year. And we had another officer involved crash 2 weeks ago out on Last Cast, maybe 3 weeks ago, and the same sergeant was working, and we had no response from the deputy for a short period of time. And he told me, he said PTSD kicked in. Yep. I thought, well, I was going to have to deal with another one. When you lose someone you work with like that, and that's the reason in positions we're in, we deal with, you got to watch for that, and you got to know when their breaking point. Yeah. Everybody has a cut. Everybody's cut fills up at a different time.
That's right.
That's what you got to be careful with.
So how do you decompress? Because Paul talked a little bit about how do you decompress?
My biggest thing is my family.
Yeah.
I spend a lot of time with my family. My wife's a nurse practitioner, and she knows she has a very stressful job also. I play golf. We all off-road. We ride in side-by-sides, boat. We do a lot of things. When I'm off from the sheriff's department, I try to be off. I try to enjoy my family, you know, and just go out and just totally clear my mind. But when I go to work, you got to be at 100%.
Yeah, you know, Coca-Cola come in this week. They did it last year. They fed all the EMS folks at Laverne, and like I say, did it at Smyrna last year. A lot of firefighters were there, dispatchers were there, and got talking to the dispatcher at Laverne. I wish I remember her name, and she told me, she said, and I was asking her about how do you decompress being a dispatcher, and then she was like, my husband knows you, Mike, and he's with volunteer behavior. And I thought, well, that's kind of ironic, you know, we're talking about this, but hats off to Coca-Cola for feeding everybody, and they had some door prizes. And have they done anything with the sheriff's department yet? Coca-Cola Consolidated Laverne?
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah. Anyway, call me. We'll get them to come out. I bet they spent $5,000 on that whole event. And last year they fed all the detectives and firefighters over there. But I was telling the guy, because I used to work Coca-Cola when I was 24, and I told the guy who was a supervisor from there. I remember him, but not real good because it's been 30 years. And I was telling that guy, I said, man, I bet this may be the only time that these guys have all gotten together and had, you know, a hamburger and hot dog and got to listen to some music and some ice cream, and just to be able to come together. I mean, do y'all do that a lot?
We do. We try to. It's not as much as we used to, but everybody stays so busy with their families and just being off work. And a lot of these guys are out trying to work extra duty jobs to try to make ends meet. And that takes up a lot of their time also. And that's where, as a young officer, EMS, a lot of people pick it up. That's the way they make their money, the way they make pay their bills. And it really takes a toll on them over time. And I tell them, don't burn yourself out. Enjoy your time off. I know money's important, but don't overdo it. You got to have that downtime to relax and recharge your batteries and come back.
Do you get stressed if you don't make your quota?
We don't have a quota.
I'm kidding. Yeah, I'm just teasing, man.
Good question.
I'm kidding you. Man, Keith and I were talking.
He tried to get you, did he?
Keith and I were talking. I think it was Keith, or maybe it was Roger. When we talked about this, was it 3 years ago, Keith? One of the nights, or 2 years ago, maybe it's been 3 years ago. We've kind of done this almost every year. Man, I was on the way up here, and I probably shouldn't share this as a lawmaker, but man, I was getting it on Murfreesboro Road right there, and there comes a deputy, and I was like, oh my gosh, and I thought, Lord Jesus, let it be Chris Beach, you know, and a guy come up, and he goes, you realize how fast she's going? I was like, no, man, I was doing like 55 or something, and man, you're doing like 70 something. And I said, well, I put new wheels on this car, and maybe because they're taller, like different wheels. He looked at me, I don't think it'd change. And I said, man, tonight on the radio, we're talking about post-traumatic stress among law enforcement and EMS, and he looked at me like, what? And he went and checked my record. He goes, man, you got a perfect driving record. Just slow it down, man. And I think one of y'all was like, don't share that on the radio. But anyways, I hope he was a new deputy. But one night I was leaving out the county commission. I was fighting with Truman. We was arguing about something, and I got pulled over. And I thought, oh my God, he done sick some deputy on me. My trailer lights were out. I had pulled a car trailer, and he's man, just fix your lights, you know. But that little stretch out there, you got to be careful by 840. Y'all nabbing a lot of people over there, ain't you?
You can get right there and you catch them leaving out of Smyrna and into Rutherford. They'll come down through pretty good.
Yeah.
Or just getting off 840 after running 70, speed limit drops down. It's hard to adjust.
Yes. Well, all the growth. Do y'all get depressed over all the growth in our county? I know I do.
Oh, sure we do. Sure we do. There's never enough resources to cover the growth. And, you know, when you're talking about taxpayer money that pays us, you know, people's not happy about adding people because there's somewhere down the line somebody's going to have to pay for it, and it's the taxpayers.
Yes.
Yeah, somebody had a bumper sticker the other day. I saw it said Murfreesboro's full. Go move somewhere else.
Oh, you seen that?
I saw it, yes.
Oh,
yes, I saw
good.
That.
Yeah. I agree. I think Smyrna's full, Laverne's full.
Well,
what about Eagleville?
It's getting full.
It's getting full.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
But that's south, right?
It's Pettis Reed's district, ain't it?
It is.
Do you know Pettis?
Very well.
Got any dirt on him?
No.
He'd probably be a hard guy to find dirt on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Pettis is a good guy.
He's on his way to the Church of Christ right now. They don't say amen. They don't clap. You know. Do you know that, Brother Hazard?
No music. No music.
I was at their church.
Yes.
It was anyways, the Church of Christ sent me a nice booklet the other day about bereavement over losing my sister last year. They still send me something about every 3 months, you know.
Sorry to hear that.
So, Paul, do y'all get together with your other retirees or go back and meet with some other guys or anything?
Actually, there's been very few people that have willingly retired from Rutherford County EMS. They were either forced out or something's happened and they've left for greener grass, whatever. But in fact, when I filled out my retirement papers, the lady at Rutherford County said, I can't remember anybody ever retiring on good terms. I said, well, thanks a lot. I appreciate that.
You accomplished something.
Well, things happen.
Sure.
Relationships. And that's the biggest thing I see is the brokenness of our culture. You know, I call it butt hurt. I see this person hate this person hate. It's triangles of hate. And I'm like, man, get over yourself. You're not that important. A lot of it's elected officials, man.
Well,
you know, and that's what I think. That's what I always liked about the captain here. He does have a servant's heart. Plus, he helped me go after some dope dealers back in the day, didn't you, Keith?
Yeah, we did that through the beer board. Yeah, they were selling these synthetic drugs to all these young people, and yeah, man, we took them permits. We did it. Hey, you were talking about retirees get together. I know as firefighters we do. Retired ones we get together about every other month at Cracker Barrel, and we all kind of catch up, just kind of see how everybody's going through their life at that thing, you know. So it's a good thing. It ought to be not just we do it, but it ought to be just really for I guess all EMS workers here in Rutherford County. But one thing I want to leave you with, Mike, before we go is I don't know if you may have heard this, but I think it's pretty good. In life, there's only really two things you got to worry about. And one is if you're going to be healthy or you're going to be sick. If you're going to be healthy, you ain't got nothing to worry about. If you're going to be sick, you got two things you got to worry about. You're either going to get better or you're going to get worse. If you're going to get better, you ain't got nothing to worry about. If you're going to get worse, you're going to have to worry about whether you're going to live or whether you're going to die. If you're going to live, you ain't got nothing to worry about. If you're going to die, two things. Either going to heaven or you're going to hell. If you're going to heaven, you ain't got nothing to worry about. But if you're going to hell, original or extra crispy.
A lot of truth to that statement. A lot of
Paul, where do you go to church at?
I go to Unity Free Will Baptist.
Okay.
Out on Florence Road. Invite everybody to come out.
Florence
Road.
Highway?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That guy used to be next door, always wave at people. Over at the duplexes.
Might have. I don't know.
Yeah.
He never waved at me.
Oh, he did.
So I don't know.
Boy, it was a bad intersection
Brother,
back in the day.
Back in the day.
Speaking of post-traumatic stress, my wife today, she was in a car wreck there, and if folks remember, there was just stop. Was it stop? Was it even a stop sign there? Stop sign.
Probably stop signs.
Okay. And somebody pulled it was raining, and you talk about somebody that's got, like, if my wife and I are traveling, and it starts raining, my wife freaks out. And sometimes it's worse to pull over and stop if you don't roll with the traffic. But yeah, that was a terrible spot back in the day, man.
Yes, it was. Before a red light got put there, it was terrible. Lot of
Remember
accidents.
Florence and Murfreesboro Road?
Yes, I sure do. If I can throw this in real quick, we do have at Rutherford County EMS now. There is a couple of young ladies that work at the Burton Street station. I still call it Burton Street, and they're visibly active in post-traumatic stress and talking to the employees and things that go on. It's a wonderful thing that they're doing, and they're young folks, and I'm happy to see that.
And where's that at?
At Rutherford County EMS. They work over at the main station, and busy all the time, but they've certainly got a servant's heart, and they talk about PTSD. Yeah.
We had a lawmaker, Bob Freeman. Sadly, his dad took his own life last year. Had another lawmaker, his brother, commit suicide. We're seeing, sadly, the rise of that. Keith, I'll let you get the final word.
Oh, no, I just, like I say, Mike, I appreciate, Kenneth, I appreciate you being here today. Paul, appreciate y'all being here today. And Mike, I appreciate you always let me be here and be a platform for really all emergency workers to bring forth what's kind of going on in the community.
Who was a young man that I asked him, man, how do you decompress? It was at Municipal Auditorium with the union, was out there, firefighter union. And
yeah, that was Ben Honeycutt.
Ben Honeycutt, and I asked him, I said, man, how do you kind of wind down? You know what he says? I call Mom. I was like, oh my gosh.
Call my mama.
I call my mom. Well, I can't call my mom since passed, but
I wish I could call mine.
Oh man, that was so touching when he said that. Well, thank y'all. Thank you, Pastor Brother Shelby Hazard, Lieutenant Kenneth Barrett, and Paul Tucker, and as well as Keith Bratcher, Connor in the studio, and Jeremy Smith, our intern, and Roger Thomas. Folks, we'll see you next week.